Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Gumball Head, with another episode of the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast, Road Rants, 28th of April, 2026. It's a beautiful day. It's gray, no sunshine, hardly at all, and it's about 71 degrees here in Ohio. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of things that have come up in conversations and have come up in actually some of the social media stuff that I've been seeing lately. The difference between being valuable and value. I just posted on our Facebook page the other day, facebook.com, Explore the Gumball. Just pasted on there the other day a couple of quotes that I've come across lately, and one of them was from Benjamin Franklin. You can delay, but time does not, which kind of breaks things down to you can procrastinate all you want, but time's still going to go. Time's still going to tick. Put that in your mind for a moment here while we talk a little bit, and I'm going to bring up some stuff that goes hand in hand with that. But the difference between value and being valuable is there's a huge difference between the two. I'm going to explain those here in a moment as well. And then, I had a moment where my son and I, he went with me to look at some carpentry that needed to be done at a friend of ours' house. And afterwards, we kind of had a guide date. I took him to the Texas Roadhouse because I had a gift card for there. And we went there for lunch. He had never been to a Texas Roadhouse before. And I said, hey, you know what? I'll take you, and we'll go there. And we sat down and we had a meal together. We both had Big Boy burgers, and we enjoyed our time together. But one of the things that happened was we had went into the restroom so that he could pee, and I had to pee as well. But he wanted me to hold his hand while he was in the bathroom, and that's not normal behavior for him. He doesn't normally do that, but I think that the environment itself and the frequency of people in and out of the restroom was a little uncomfortable for him. So he wanted me to hold his hand while he used the bathroom. I compromised and came up with a different solution. We ended up going into the stall, and I leaned against the door so that he felt a little more safe and secure. But I thought for a brief moment, I'm not holding your hand while you're going to the bathroom. But before I said no, I came up with a solution, and that solution was to go into the stall. And then I heavily contemplated that after we had left there, thinking to myself, number one, that's not his normal behavior. He doesn't normally act that way. He doesn't normally act odd in the bathroom. But it dawned on me that him asking me to hold his hand was awkward for me, but it was security for him. So he felt safe with me holding his hand. Now, I know that feeling because there are a lot of times when my daughters are scared, they'll hug up to me, or they'll snuggle me, or they'll hide behind me. And, it's not like we are ever placed in dangerous situations. But think about it when a baby gets scolded by one parent, or not a baby, but a child gets scolded by one parent, and they run over to the other one, and they're looking for protection. They're looking for calm. They're looking for sympathy and empathy. They're looking for a different outcome than what they were just given. And the same thing goes at work. When you get scolded by an employer, supervisor, a boss, or a coworker even, what's the first thing you do? Well, I can't wait till this day's over, right? It's kind of the same way when it comes to children's thoughts and feelings. But theirs are shorter lived than ours. We hold on to grudges, and we learn that behavior as we age. We learn, hey, I'm not going to take care of you because you dicked me over one time, 5 months ago. And that creates a negative connotation in our mindset. I'm guilty of it, and I have friends out there that I will never talk to again as a result of things that they have done to affect me in the past. Then I have friends out there that I just let it go, and that's the big thing. How long do you hold on to it before you let it go? How long do you allow somebody else's opinions or feelings or their desired outcomes to a situation affect your life? And our lives are all essentially affected by the behaviors and the activities of other people. And yet we continue to do our very best to accommodate those people and accommodate other types of people out there that, continuously give us negative influence in our lives. And I saw Gary Vaynerchuk was on a talk show the other day, and they asked him, how can you be so positive all the time? And his response was simply, I let everything go. There's no need for me to hold on to these things as a result of, anything, because the gossip and the back talk and the haters are going to exist no matter where you go, no matter what you do. And I got haters on the show here. I have haters on my Facebook page. But the nice thing about people that hate you or dislike you is they still check in. They still check in to see what you have to say. And normally it's not, they're not going to sit and listen to an entire podcast. So you got to make the front end all 100% positive and then get to the root of it towards the back end and explain the situation, because otherwise you lose your listeners in the first portion of the podcast. That's why we've switched over to a faster format. We do the road rants. The road rants are more downloaded than our interviews are. Our interviews are fantastic if you want to sit down and listen to what that person being interviewed has to say. But if you're looking for quick wisdom, this is the way to go. Stop in on the road rants. You can find us on gumballhead.com. You can send us an email if you want to hear content or you got questions about something that we talked about on the show. NormalIsn'tNecessaryPodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on TikTok, either under the Normal Isn't Necessary Podcast, or you can find us on Gumballhead Official. You can jump over to our website, or our Facebook page, rather, and that's facebook.com, Explore the Gumball. So there's lots of ways to get to us, lots of ways to get information from us, and lots of ways to share your vision and your information with us. So let's go back to the whole difference between value and being valuable. Somebody with an insurmountable amount of wisdom is valuable, okay? And wisdom, skills, abilities, money, all these things are valuable. These things are valuable, okay? We look to gain something from every time we interact with the valuability of that person or that entity, okay? There is value in those things, but being valuable is if you need to color a picture and you have a whole bunch of markers in front of you and you need the color red and somebody has the color red, well, that marker is valuable. The person's not valuable. That marker is valuable because it has the desired outcome attached to it that you desire. The value of that marker is whatever you're willing to put on it for a price. Now, sometimes in this world, the marker is worth millions of dollars, and sometimes in this world, the marker is worth 25 cents. Okay? But regardless, it's worth more than nothing. So therefore, it's valuable. Okay? But the person holding that marker has the choice to take the money and run, or share, or give, or provide. Now, depending on that person's inner workings determines some of their value. Okay? If they are willing to share, or if they're willing to provide, or they're willing to give, that's one of their values. Okay? If you have values. If you feel good by giving, then that's a value. What do you gain from that? Well, you gain the feel good, but there's no monetary income, and there's no favor exchanged. Once favors are exchanged, there's no longer value. There's no longer value. Now it becomes business. And I know that it might be confusing, but somebody's value is worth nothing to anybody that doesn't see the value in a person, unless they have something of value, which makes them valuable. Okay? So the book that I've been working on for the last couple of years is called The Gatekeeper's Guide to Insider's Information. Now, the concept of that book is sharing the wisdom and information that I've gained over the years to provide information to people for, obviously I'm going to charge for the book because it costs me money to make the book. Okay, but if I charge the people what it costs for me to make each book, and I give them that information, then there's value in that book because it was a 0-0 situation. You paid for what I gave you because you paid what I paid. So that, I think, is a form of value because I'm giving you the information for free, but you have to pay for the information, but you're only paying the same amount that I paid for it in order to provide that information. Same thing with going to college. People with college degrees paid for their college degrees. They paid a monetary amount. They paid a time amount, okay, so because they put the time into going to college and the effort and the experiences and all of those things. There is a value in what they obtained as a result. They gained that wisdom, but they had to pay for that wisdom. Was that wisdom valuable? Well, if you're pursuing a doctoral degree, is it important to know math? Well, 1 + 1 we already know, but there are fractions and there are decimal points and stuff like that when it comes to figuring out, medications. Okay, when you are trying to measure up a medication for a pediatric, for example, versus an adult, there's a different value placed on that, which is a different mathematical equations, so you don't give too much medication to a child. There's a percentage involved, okay? So you have to know that math. Well, if you don't learn that math well enough, then there could be problems. So there is a measure of valuability to having that wisdom. Now, there's charts everywhere. You can use the charts, whatever, but when it comes to an emergency situation, sometimes you just got to do math. I learned that in paramedic school. I learned that in EMT school. I learned that in fire academy. All of those things, those moments matter. And being able to come up with that information quickly with a full team, that gives you the value. Okay, but does value equate to dollars? Does value equate to, more money? Does your valuability equate to more dollars? Sure, it can in this world, but if you're willing to be forthcoming and honest about the information, then that's where you hold your value. So the bottom line is, are you worth something monetarily or are you worth something socially? Okay? Your value, like family values, you've heard that term. What do you do to provide for your family? Does your family come first or does your job come first? My wife said to me last night, what is the value of you working extra hours? Is it valuable to work extra hours? I'm salary. The answer to that question is no. There's no value. There's no financial value to me working extra hours. Is it an expectation? Nope, it's not. Not the company I work for. They want you to leave on time. They want you to go home and spend time with your family. But they want you to work hard while you're there, so they're getting their money's worth. That's monetary value. If you work hard while you're there, then they're going to get a good residual return on the initially placed value on the individual. Whereas if you show up and you sit in your chair all day and you don't do anything, they're not getting their money's worth. The outcome of that is your value decreases because you no longer work for that company. So it's I know it's difficult to understand, and we'll do a couple of podcasts just to explain the two differences again. But that was today's concept is, are you valuable or do you have value? You can have both. It is possible. It is possible to be a valuable person and hold value. It's all in how you interpret it. Weird how that works, isn't it? Weird how that works. Is recovery? Well, what is the different levels of recovery? Abstinence is a form of recovery, but it's not recovery. Recovery is start, middle, and end. The recovery portion is the end of the ailment. Cancer, remission, that's recovery. Okay, that's the end. You get a tattoo. Okay? The idea starts. The drawings happen. The estimates happen. Picking the shop happens. You go in, you get the stencil drawn, you get the tattoo on. Is it the way you wanted it to be? Is that the final answer? Is that exactly what you want? Okay, it's tattooed on your skin, it's permanent. Once it's done, now you got a healing process that starts. And over the period of time, as that tattoo heals, as long as you take good care of it, don't pick the scabs, make sure that you're keeping it moist and doing what you need to do to let it heal. Once it's all healed and there's no touch-ups needed, it was worth it. And once the tattoo is done and completed on your skin and healed and all that, that's the finalization of it. Okay, that's the end. Okay, no longer is it going to be a matter of, all the things involved. It's done. Then you move on. You go and you decide your next tattoo. Okay, that's your value. Did you get your money's worth? Is it something that you're happy with on the rest of your life on your skin? Guys, I got to wrap this up. Till our paths cross, stay strong, stay focused, stay sober, much love. Make sure you check out our links. Now we're available on Twitch, so look into us for that. We'll see you guys soon. Much love.